I want to give you an update on these two vans, and I've basically caught the white one up to where I was at with the dark one, so you know, Duke and Cruz. And you can see from this vantage point, that's why we're out here right now. I've put in the Max Air fans, and both of them have racks on top and solar. Obviously they're kind of color matched, so black racks on Cruz and white racks and fans on Duke. Last time I think the windows were in with Cruz, but not with Duke, so I'll show you those, and then we'll go inside where it's quieter. We put in different windows with Duke than we did with Cruz. Cruz has CL windows that I got from Van Windows Direct. I put in Van Windows Direct bunk windows on Duke. I put in a CR window for the slider on Cruz, and then this is a Van Windows Direct window for Duke. Actually, I think I like this one better. It doesn't have that badge on it, and I think it's better. I think it was cheaper too, so I don't know why I didn't use that to begin with. Anyway, okay, now we can go inside where it's not as noisy. What are all the updates that I've done since the last video? Obviously, I put in windows in Duke. We also put in the ceilings in both of them, and we'll show you the other van here in a minute, but they're basically the same on the inside. So before we put up the ceiling, we put in insulation, and we put in these furring strips to hold the ceiling. So the furring strips are 1x3s, just the same as what we have on the walls here. They're not actually 1 inch by 3 inch, but that's what they call them, 1x3s. And so we put 1x3 furring strips in, and then we put in polyiso insulation. I think it's either 1 inch or 1.5 inches of polyiso insulation. And then in the cracks where that's all the kind of the flat places, and we glued that on with Gorilla Glue. Here's the Gorilla Glue that we use. It's great. So you only need to hold it for like 30 seconds, and then it pretty well holds on by itself after that. It is supposed to basically attach to all surfaces. So it does wood, marble, foam board, polyiso foam board. It's great. And it's also low VOC, so it's not going to be off-gassing fumes. So we use this stuff to hold up the insulation. We also used it to hold up the furring strip. So what we did was we put the Gorilla Glue on the metal, and then we screwed in the wood, and it actually it's curved, so the wood actually curves to the surface once we screw it in. And then we could probably take out the screws and the glue would still hold, but we'll just leave the screws in, and it's even better. So once we got the furring strips up and the insulation, we also, before we did the ceiling, we also ran the wires for the solar off to the side and the wires for the lights that we put in. So there's 3 lights, and we ran the wires for those. And then we also ran the wires for the ceiling fans. So this one we just have running out the back, and the front one we have running out the side. And so then we used the cedar that's 5/16 of an inch, and it's tongue and groove. How we put that up, we used the Gorilla Glue again, and then we also used a nail gun that has little tiny, maybe it's 18 gauge nails that are 3/4 of an inch long, and we nailed it, we glued it and then nailed it. Also, to make these boards look like this, they don't look like this when you buy them. We put on 2 coats of boiled linseed oil, and then 4 coats of shellac. The shellac, we did a 50-50 mixture of shellac and the clear shellac and denatured alcohol. And that allows it to go on more smoothly and not dry before you're done applying it. So the ceiling's up, and then we put insulation on the walls. Most of the places we put 2-inch polyiso insulation, and the reason we did that is it'll fit. And so it's insulated really well. We put only 1 inch over here because we're going to have a bump out so that it's wider here where the mattress is going to be, so you have more room when you're sleeping. So we did that, and then all the places that aren't flat where we couldn't put polyiso very easily, we put in Tavlock wool. In this one, we went ahead and put on, this is 1/4 inch plywood. It doesn't have formaldehyde in it, so all the plywood I use in this, I don't use the stuff that has formaldehyde. so that you're not breathing that stuff. But then I use lath screws to put this on. And the nice thing about doing 2 vans at once is we spent a while making one of these, you know, getting it to fit around the wheel well. But then all we have to do is trace it on 3 more, and those went pretty quickly. We also, when we cut it out, we cut this area out. So there's a vent here, and we cut this out so that the vent can still be, well, still function. And that vent, that has these one-way louvers in it. And so when you shut the sliding door, they open and allow air to escape so that you can shut the doors easier, basically. And so I wanted to keep those. So we cut those out. On this side, you can see I made a wheel well box, and we'll make these for all the wheel wells. I did the calculations, and I made these so that they will support a lot of weight. Like, I mean, they're going to hold batteries, which are heavy, so I wanted to make sure that they would hold weight. Even the ones that don't have batteries are built the same, and it's really not that much wood in this, you know, 2x2s and 2x3s and 2x4s. This will be insulated all around. All these spaces will have insulation, and then we'll have plywood on top. You can see there's some insulation already we put here. We just haven't put it on the sides yet. Since we were going to put the wheel well boxes on soon, I wanted to go ahead and cut the place for the heater, because this is where it goes. Most of the floor is not flat. It's got all these corrugated bumps on it. But this place is a flat place. And so there's a hole cut in here about the same shape as this black line here that's cut through the metal. We cut the floor out, which actually is wood, by the way. It is plywood, I found out. It's just got this really nice synthetic coating on it, but it's really nice plywood. And we cut this with a circular saw. You got to be kind of careful doing that. But we cut it we set the thickness so it wouldn't go beyond this, because we wouldn't want to hit metal with a circular saw. Now, there's all these places where there's thick glue. You can see some of it here maybe, but there's this thick glue, and we had to cut through that. So we used a multi-tool to cut down through and to the side, but there'll still be a bunch of crud there. So I used a angle grinder with sanding disc, and I sanded that smooth, and then we painted it all with Rust-Oleum, and then we used some high temp sealant that I got at AutoZone, and I put that on here. That will keep any kind of fumes or whatever from coming up, and also just insulate the van. And then the heater itself fits down in here. This is where the exhausts go, and this is for the intake, and it's got a rubber seal around it, so it keeps fumes from coming up. So this is all ready for the heater to go in. Okay, now let's go look at the other van, and I'll show you what we did on that. So this is Cruz. It's virtually the same. This one doesn't have the plywood on the side, so you can see the insulation that we put down here. It's basically the same as every other place. Again, we have the ceiling in this as well, and it's got, both of them have 3 of these lights. They're 3 watts each, and then they, obviously we have the fans. The shrouds are on these, and we haven't put the shrouds on that one yet because I'm missing the white screws. And the company's really good. They're sending us the white screws. It just was missing out of the box on one of them. Thank you for joining us on this video. Well, that's the update on the vans. And I just wanted to get that update in before we put walls on, because you wouldn't be able to see the insulation. So thanks for watching, and until next time, adventure awaits.